Hi there, and thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast. We feature those who are in the process of overcoming or have overcome any type of life encounter, life obstacle that at the time seemed to be almost insurmountable. With this podcast, we have three objectives in mind. Our first objective is we want you to know with a confident resolve you are not alone. We want to work with you. We want you to know there are others who are working with you, who want to help you through whatever you are encountering, and together we will get through whatever you're experiencing.
Our second objective is there are multiple options for any life encounter you are facing. We want to help you develop a resolve that there are various options and solutions to any life dilemma.
Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If you're encountering something that was possibly a decision you made sometime in the past, and if you had the opportunity for a life redo, you would make a different decision. We want to help you with those critical thinking skills that can help you make an informed decision and not encounter what you're going through at the moment. We are the Cooper Culture, a veteran-owned business. We work with business personnel and families to develop and sustain connected relationship cultures within their families and organizations. That type organization is one where people feel wanted, appreciated, and genuinely a part of that organization. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty, who has helped me facilitate this podcast. Today we feature René, who discusses with us what was a hopeful career of being a cross-country runner, was hit by a four-wheel truck at an early age. That put a halt to his aspirations of being a cross-country runner, and so he chose to become a salesperson, and that lasted for a while until the COVID epidemic, when that changed his career again to where he had to make a second life pivot, and he became more closely aligned with God. And by his testimony, prior to that point, he had knowledge of God, but not really a relationship, or said another way, he was religious, but never had a relationship until that point in his life where he dedicated his life to his Lord, who redirected him in making a life pivot. The life pivot he's making right now is studying medication and the body, to where he is making a very marked improvement in helping people with the knowledge of learning nutrition and its benefits. Marty, what are some takeaways we can learn from Rob?
Ron, it was a joy listening to Rob. As he was telling the story, I could almost feel like I'm reliving it through him as he's going through it again. And his dream, and then the dream is taken away. This is a dream that he felt like this is where God's leading him and could use him, but not so. And so where he is now, I'm sure he feels he can reach more people through his business than he could through running. But he is so dedicated to God and helping people. It's a wonderful story.
Listen to the vibrance of his voice and you will know he is living God's purpose in his life. Let's listen and learn together. Rob, it is great to have you with us. Our listeners are going to be really intrigued how you overcame your past of a very gifted athlete. You ran into, had to overcome different things. And how did you overcome those kind of what could be, by a lot of people's standards, some major setbacks? And how did you go forward from that? I know there are a lot of our listeners who are experiencing something of the nature of which you experienced. Our listeners are not necessarily gifted athletes as you are. However, they are experiencing different things, and you think, oh my gosh, I had my world set on, and now this obstacle I'm having to totally if, or at least they make a major revision to my life. Rob, it's great to have you with us, partner.
I am so excited to be here, and I'm excited to try to at least through my journey help at least one person, right? One person listens to this and is impacted by it, then I've done my job, and I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, Rob, that's exactly where we are. Can you take our listeners maybe a kind of a 60,000 foot view of what was your past, and then we're going to walk through it. How did you make it to today and in the future?
Sounds great. So my story is a really strange one. I've been I don't know if I would say blessed, but I do know that looking back at my life now, I know that the Lord has planned my life, and I can see it now. And if you would asked me 5 years ago if I was doing what I'm doing today, I said you're absolutely crazy because it just wasn't in my plan, right? But His plan is always way better than my plan. And I can start seeing that now, and I can really feel that I'm in my calling, and I'm excited to help people get to where I am today because it's really gratifying when you get there. But if you go back to my early childhood, I was a gifted runner. I did all sports, but running was the one thing that I was really excelled at, and I ended up making the U.S. junior team in my youth and won a national cross country championship and ended up winning an international race with 5 different countries. And I was like the second best miler in the country for anybody 19 years and younger. So I was really a good runner. I got a full ride scholarship to a Division I school. Everything was like going perfect. That was my goal in life at that point, is I wanted to be a professional runner. But God had different plans for me. On a winter training run out in Utah, I ended up getting hit by a 4x4 truck while I was out running on a training run. And that took my whole life and path in a totally different direction, right? I was really lucky to be alive from that accident. And I know God, after that, I knew God had a plan for me. But I did go through a period of really difficult time, right? That was my entire life up to that point, was what I was planning on doing. But I had a brother and mentor who helped me make sure while I was going through my college education, even high school, to do well in school. So I had something to fall back up on. So thank God I did have something to fall back up on, and I did that through getting my degree, which was and then going into the corporate world. So I kind of did what the world tells you to do. I went got my degree, and then I went into got a great job and went into the corporate career and ended up moving up in the corporate world and sold enterprise software for decades, and I was really good at it. But it was one of those periods of my life where everything was about me, and it was about how can I improve my family, how can I get a better job, how can I get a better house, how can I get a better car, how can I do all the things that the world tells you is important, and I wasn't living for God, that I believe I am now. But the strange thing about that was it took a second truck to hit me to change my life again, to really impact the way that now I really feel where I'm headed and what I'm trying to do for people and humanity, where God led me. So the second truck was the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I ended up losing my job from sales because I was a travel salesperson, right? And instead of traveling everywhere, I couldn't travel. So they downsized the sales team. And that was the first time in my life I'd have time to sit back and kind of address what's going on in the world. And that's when I really started doing research. I wanted to, one, keep my family healthy. And remember back to my running days, I knew how important nutrition was to my health, and that really helped me in my running days. So when the pandemic hit, I went back to that and said, geez, I know that nutrition is very important, so I'm going to make sure my family eats well. And as I was doing that research on how to keep my family safe, I uncovered this doctor who was talking about vitamin D. And I'm like, okay, vitamin D is like the most natural element in the world, right? It comes from the sun. And if without vitamin D, we don't have oxygen through the plants. So I'm just like, what's wrong with vitamin D? I couldn't find anything wrong with vitamin D. Yet this one doctor was getting sued for billions of dollars, like with a B. And I was like, okay, he must be a really bad dude, right? Or vitamin D is really bad. So that's why I went down that path. And I started researching the doctor, and I was like, man, he's a holistic practitioner, and he's trying to help people with natural medicine. And I couldn't find anything wrong with him. I mean, I literally did my best. I was like, he's got to have something wrong, right? There's no reason that they would sue him for billions of dollars. And then I couldn't find anything. So I just started doing what was natural to me at the time. I was like, okay, why? Right? Why would they be going after this gentleman? And then I just started doing research on the medical industry and why they would be suing this particular person. And I just uncovered so much information about how our healthcare system was taken over in the early 1900s, and just started going down these people call them rabbit holes, right? I started going down this research and then uncovered just a lot of truths about our healthcare system. A lot of people realize that our healthcare system is broken, but they don't know why. And so I was like, okay, why? Well, and then the more research I did, I was like, oh my gosh, my eyes just were wide open to a lot of corruption that I never knew was there. And I found corruption in our media. I found corruption in our healthcare system, and it just really disheartened me. I'm just like, I was really depressed. I went through, that the 12 stages of recovery when someone dies and or your depression, and you go through this period of frustration and anger and sadness and just depression. I just went through that for quite a while, and so that's when I started developing not only this love for research and trying to figure out the truth of things, but I also started reading the Bible every day, and that really transformed my relationship from a Sunday to Sunday person who didn't think about the Bible or my faith in between the Sunday to Sunday. It wasn't part of my life and so now I really believe I have a relationship with God rather than a religion. And that transformed my life dramatically. And so now I've got this path of health and faith that I'm so excited about because I've learned so many things and I've been through so many tragic things in my life. There's even one that less than like 2 months ago was another near-death experience. I've had 4 of them in my life. It's absolutely crazy but God still has saved me. He's like, you have a plan, young man. I still have, you still have stuff to do. And man, it just opened my eyes up. And this last one just like hit me like a ton of bricks. And it's like, you know what? I have to just forget about everything in this world that is not meaningful. And I need to really just spend the rest of my life trying to make a difference and trying to impact the kingdom. So that's what I've done.
Wow, Rob, let me make sure I'm processing
there you
everything.
Go. Sorry, there's a 60,000-foot level.
Well, hey, that's all great stuff. Now, you have gone through what I'm processing at least 2 major life pivots. The first was the time that literally the truck hit you. How old were you at that time?
Yeah, I was I was like 20 years old. So I was in my, middle age, just going through my college degree.
Okay. So at that point, you had aspirations. Hey, I'll be, well, no one's going to be a runner for the next 80 years or so, but at least
Right.
for the next X number of years, you thought, okay, I'm going to run professionally and so forth. And that shattered your thoughts right away. And I'm curious, did you know God at that point, or was that sometime later where you
No,
developed a relationship?
Yeah, that's a great question. I did grow up Episcopalian, but literally, I wasn't I call myself a Christian. I wore this cross, but I wore this cross for the wrong reason. I didn't wear the cross because of what Christ did for me at the time. I do now, but it was more of identifying I'm not there was 2 religions in the city I grew up in, and there was people who didn't believe in the cross, and so I wanted to identify as the other people who did. So I wore the cross for the wrong reasons at the time, but and then I was the type of Christian who I would go to as a Sunday service, and I would like the service, but I didn't act upon it. Monday, as soon as the door hit me in the butt, leaving the church, I didn't think about it until the next one. Then I go to the next one, like, oh, that was great service, neat. And then, boom, I didn't think about it. So it didn't become a part of who I am. It didn't become part of my life until recently. And so that's what's been so fun, that transformation. So anyway, there's the answer to that.
Well, I think with that, what you just described, Rob, is a lot of us that we were, or maybe even are, religious, but we don't have the other R relationship.
Right, right.
Would that be accurately characterizing where you were and the
100%.
transformation you've made?
100%. I didn't ever want to talk about religion or politics because I just, I wanted to, I was a Christian, but at the same point, I didn't know enough. And I was scared to talk about that topic because, man, there's so many people, maybe they know the Bible a lot better than I do. And what if I say the wrong thing, or what if I just misrepresent it right? And so I just never ever wanted to have that conversation and talk about it with people because I didn't know enough. And I didn't. Now that I'm so excited because I've been researching the Bible. I read it every day. I've read it multiple times. I've listened to it multiple times, and I actually love it. Right, I really enjoy it. So I've 100% with my relationship with him. He's given me the comfort and confidence to talk about my faith. And if people don't believe what I believe in, that's totally fine with me. I want to come to people with love, right? And if you don't believe what I believe in, that's okay. Right? We're all human beings. We're all created by what I believe is God, and He is our Savior, and that He died on the cross for us. But at the same point, if you don't believe that, it's okay. I want to help you, and I want to get to the point. That's why I'm really passionate about people's health, because I believe that's why God has me on this earth, is He's trained me about health from my childhood, and then all the stuff I learned after COVID, and all the businesses I've created, and the things I'm doing, and then the health crises that I've personally had. I'm just learning ridiculous amounts of information about health. And I'm like, hey, that's why He has me here. Not only to just give people encouragement, but to help them with their health. And then, geez, guess what? If I can get them off the couch and they can go talk to their neighbor, or they can talk to their loved one, or they can go talk to their friends that they haven't been able to talk to because they're feeling better, then guess what? We can all start to do that. And we can just make this world a better place if we all make a little bit of a difference. And so that's my passion.
Well, Rob, I can sense the vibrance in your voice, that you are what seems to be right at the heart of what God has created you to be, that person. You had to pivot from becoming a runner to go into sales, which running and sales to some degree sound all just very, very different. But it's through COVID and all of this coming together that, and I say frequently, your past does not define you, but it certainly can inspire you to become who you are today and in the future. I'm very, very interested. I know a lot of our listeners are interested in your statement just a few moments ago. You've learned through all of this life transformation some of the, let's say, some of the inequity, some of the corruption, you called it, the health system and so forth. This may be another episode we need to talk about, but
Right.
take us into that as far as you feel you would like to, Rob.
Yeah, I don't want to. I mean, we could literally spend hours on this topic, so but I just want to give people a little taste, right? If you have a little bit of taste and then you're curious, I want to just give you a few nuggets that you can go research for yourself, because that's the skill set that I developed that I think is so important for everybody, is don't believe anybody on anything nowadays, because there's so much misinformation, there's so much corruption in the media and this information they're hearing from all around you, that you have to come at information with distrust now. I know it's sad to say, but you really do. So one, you need to talk to God. That's one thing you need to do. But then you need to start researching things for yourself. And so my wife gets really frustrated with me because we're on the same page and we have an amazing relationship. But she'll come and tell me something about a topic, and I'll say, "Great, that's interesting." But I won't believe her right off the bat, right? I'll take that information in, and then I'm going to go do my own research against the resources that I've come to trust. And then and I even go when I do that research, I research the information even from the people I don't trust because I want to know what they're saying, right? And then typically, a lot of times, whatever they're saying is going to be the opposite of what I'm going to end up believing. But that skill set is really important, and people can say right or left, but I don't think it's right or left. I think it's really good versus evil. Is what really it comes down to because there's a lot of evil people on the right and a lot of good people on the left, and there's it's really good versus evil fight that we're going through these days. But so there's two things I want to talk. One is the Flexner report. If people will go back and look at the Flexner report back in the early 1900s, the Rockefellers hired this gentleman he created this report called the Flexner report, and they used that report for really nefarious purposes. They took over our medical schools and only started teaching pharmaceutical-based medication and solutions. And if you were anybody that was in the natural health space, they vilified you and they called you quacks. That's where the term quack came from, was literally back then at that time. So back then, 50% of our healthcare workers and practitioners were holistic. They were using God's given, nutrients and earth and things to help people with their health. And now you go look at our healthcare system today, and it's like 0.01 or 0.001% are holistic practitioners. So they've done a fantastic job of just vilifying this what God gave us, right? And so that was really interesting and intriguing to me, and it gets pretty nefarious as you do because the Rockefellers owned all the petroleum at the time, and one of the reasons I believe they did it, and you can do their own research yourself, is they would talk about pharmaceutical-based medication, and that's because they could patent those. You can't patent all the things that God put on this earth, right? You can't patent an apple, right? You can't patent barley grass and wheatgrass and other things that are very, very healthy for you. They can't patent those, and so if you were a doctor at the time, you couldn't get into the medical schools or you couldn't get a job at a hospital unless you went through their medical schools. So they did a really, really, really good job of kind of taking over, our healthcare system. And then it's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And now we end up having big pharma, what people call it, right? We have all this healthcare system, and our insurance, and healthcare together are really messed up, right? It's like, it's really difficult and expensive for every individual. Even if you have good insurance, it's still expensive for you. And then the amount of money they charge for some of these medications is just astronomical. And it's anyway. So that's one thing. And the second thing I just want to give people. So go do research on Flexner report, and you'll get to the point where you'll understand. You might not agree with me, but I think you'll see what I'm talking about. And then the second one is Mockingbird Media. That's what really ended up waking me up at the beginning, because I was like, Mockingbird Media was a program by the CIA where they actually put assets into the top media organizations. And then every morning at 4 a.m., they had their 4 a.m. talking points. And these assets had to use those talking points in their show, either radio or TV or their newspapers. And they would have to say certain things every single day. And what ended up happening is you would hear that same information 5 different times during the day. You'd hear it on the radio on the way to work. You'd see it on the 5 o'clock news. You'd maybe read it in the newspaper. And once you see the same thing, maybe talked about in a little bit different way, you hear it 3 or 4 times, you assume it's true. So that they were very good at controlling the agenda of what they wanted to talk about. And so people, Project Mockingbird has been authenticated as a true program that the CIA did, and even literally recently, one of the Trump's new people in the government just talked about said that the Project Mockingbird and Mockingbird Media is basically still in existence today. So that corruption really frustrated me.
In the context of big pharma, I want to get your opinion, and it sounds like you have factual evidence, but it sounds as if, and if I'm processing you wrong, Rob, please tell me. But it sounds as if you're saying that there is largely a holistic approach that our body, the way God created us, holistic approaches can bring us through or even be preventative to a lot of different things. But Big Pharma has, let's just say, connived us, and you may not use that word, but has convinced us that nope, pharmaceuticals are what we need. But you seem to be an advocate that largely there's holistic approaches. Am I processing you correctly?
Yeah, I think you're making some good assumptions. What I do though is I think we need to integrate both because I think the modern there is a lot of amazing things that our modern healthcare system is produced, right? So I don't want to dismiss that, and I want to also make sure that you understand. I think all the people in the healthcare field, they're not bad people, right? It's not them. It's the system that's set up that's bad. Like when doctors go into healthcare, they have good intentions, right? They want to help the society. They want to help people. But the problem is our system is messed up. It's way too specialized, right? You go to a liver doctor, right? And the liver doctor, you have something wrong with your liver. The liver doctor, he doesn't know everything else about what's going on. He's never taught nutrition. They don't even, in their 12 or 15 years of schooling that they go through, it's an elective to do nutrition, and if they do take it, it's like one class of nutrition during their 12-year period. So they don't have an understanding of how you can modify our amazing temple that God gave us with natural nutrients. And so that's just a tragedy, first of all. But then they also are so specialized that they don't understand the body as a whole. So that liver specialist is gonna give you something, gonna give you medication because he doesn't know how to do it holistically. He doesn't know how to do it with nutrients. He just knows what he's been told, and he will, and what he's done as far as medical research, and he'll give you a pill, right? And these pills, all these drugs end up having side effects. So you'll end up having a side effect that causes maybe something in your pancreas. And then so you go see a pancreas specialist, and then that pancreas specialist does the same thing. He's like, oh, well, great, we can help you with that. You just take this pill. And then I was doing research, and the average senior today is taking 15 different prescription medications in a year. And so every prescription medication you take has a side effect, no matter what you call it. That's why those radio commercials at the last 30 seconds of the commercial, it's all the things that hey, this thing could kill you and arm you and disarm you, all these really bad things. But yes, so it just becomes a snowball effect, right? As you take one drug, it's going to hurt something else, and then you go see these specialists, and not very many people that are looking at holistic care for the body and the human individual, and that's what I'm just so excited about is trying to. There are a lot of people that are open and awake into this issue and this problem, and I believe that I want to be that bridge of people that says I want to create this community of people who love the human temple and the body, and how can we improve this body naturally? How can we use nutrients? How can we use I call it biohackingville is my new community I'm putting together because I want people to learn how to use cold therapy and red light therapy and use the sun to help us, all these natural things. But then guess what? There's a lot of practitioners who are learning this and know this and understand it and want to help people. So I want to be that bridge when you come into our community and you have issues. And guess what? I have this army of practitioners who are great at helping people. And so I want to kind of just direct people to the right places. And I believe that's a big part of my job in life is to do that. And I've created a couple of healthcare companies, I wouldn't say healthcare companies, just health product companies, just some solutions that help people with really important issues. And I want to help them with that, but it's like I'm not leading with my products. I'm leading with love, right? I want to help you with your health. And guess what? I have all these amazing resources and all these people that you can see and get help from. And I just want to be that bridge. And I believe that's what I am, why I'm here.
In the context of nutrition plan, does every person have a body makeup, that there's no one nutrition plan that fits everybody type thing? I mean, does every individual have a very specific tailored nutrition plan that is very specific for them?
Well, that's what's so cool about our bodies, right? God made this temple so incredibly complex that they still can't figure it all out, right? Which is absolutely astonishing when you think about it, right? If all the advances in the world that we've been able to understand, we still don't understand how the body works. We understand a lot of it, and don't get me wrong, right? I get it, but at the same point, there's this quantum energy, and there's these energy research that people still are just trying to like, how does that work? How does that impact the human body? But we know it does, right? So anyway, yeah, the answer to your question is everybody is unique, right? And we all have a unique fingerprint, right? We all have DNA. Of course, our DNA is very similar, but the problem is each one of us have had different experiences. We've eaten different food. We live in a different environment, right? And all these things that surround us and have built us to and changed our human body to what it is today, that we are all individuals. You can't treat each person the same way. I can't say, hey, here's the perfect diet, right? Here's the perfect supplement. Here's the perfect this. Here's the perfect that, because it is unique to you as a person. So it's really fun to help people say, okay, well, what's wrong? What issues are you having? And then how can we help you? Yes, there are some really fundamental elements that are important, right? That everybody should do. And if you do those, you're going to start improving, right? And things are going to start helping. But then you're going to come up and say, geez, I've got this issue. And, there's probably 10 different ways to help solve that issue. And it's not going to be the same for every person. For example, cancer, right? Cancer is so complex, right? There's hundreds of different types of cancers. And then there's even different mutations within those cancers. And then not only that, but then the person that's got the cancer, like I mentioned, all the makeup of who I am and how I got to where I am as a person, the way I'm going to be treated or should be treated for my condition is going to be different than the person who has the exact same thing sitting next to me, right? So if this person had the same problem, same cancer that I have, and our bodies are different. So the way that you treat me should be different than the way you treat him. And that's not how our healthcare system is not set up that way. Our healthcare system is set up to say, here's the pill, right? Here's a solution for this, right? And so that, I think, is a really big problem. And we need to look at the person as an individual, and then we need to try to help them individually. There are core things that everybody can do and should do. And I want to educate people on those. But geez, as you start getting into the nuances of your actual specific problem and or health condition, then you need to find people who understand those nuances, right? And say, you, Rob, you have a BRAF mutation on your cancer. And that BRAF mutation means that your cancer feeds off of both carbohydrates and saturated fats. So guess what? You need to go, on a different diet than this next person, right? They might both have the same cancer, but you don't. It's called the same thing. Let's say melanoma, right? Is something I'm very familiar with, right? You have melanoma, and I've got a BRAF mutation on my melanoma, and I was doing everything perfectly right. What I thought, all the research I've done, all the holistic care that I'm doing, even the standard of care in the U.S., right? I took some of that information. I was doing just everything. But when I found out that my specific version of melanoma, I have this BRAF mutation, and that BRAF mutation, I found out, it also feeds off of saturated fats. So what's fascinating is I had been on a keto diet, because that's one of the recommended diets for cancer is keto. And so I was very, very strict with my diet and my supplements and all the things that I'm doing to battle. And what I found is my BRAF mutation, since it feeds off of saturated fats, I was feeding my cancer with what it wanted, right? It wanted the saturated fats, and I was eating a keto diet. I thought I was doing everything perfect, right? And for 7, 8 months, I was doing the wrong thing just because I didn't understand that BRAF mutation component. And so it was like fascinating. I'm like, oh wow, that's interesting. Because I read this book, that's amazing book. It's called How to Starve Cancer, right? And if you can starve cancer of the pathways where it gets its fuel, then it can't spread, right? It can't replicate, and that's where most people die from cancer, is through cancer spreading. And so I wanted to make sure my cancer stopped its spreading because it had spread already, and I wanted to stop it. And I was doing a good job of stopping it. But for 6, 7 months, I didn't realize I was feeding it what it still needed. So I think I could, if I'd have known that early on, man, I could have really changed my protocol and made a much bigger difference. So that's what that I'm so passionate about. I was like, okay, let's help people understand that you are different, you are unique. Let's find practitioners who are going to help you, right?
I want to take a very brief moment to tell you about myself, the Cooper Culture, a certified veteran-owned small business. I am a retired lieutenant colonel serving the Air Force for 22 years as an F-4 pilot, commander. I have 300 combat missions. I specialize in executive leadership training, team building, and workplace culture, where we help businesses to develop a culture of loyalty, trust, and by developing personality traits and personal strengths, we can help identify those traits that support the company's objectives. We do this through half-day and all-day training shops. I'm also a public speaker where I welcome the opportunity to speak with your group to help you develop your team to the point where people are loyal and they know exactly how they fit in the organization and contribute to your strategic objectives. Through that, you will have a very profitable company and a psychologically safe space where people know they can freely discuss everything about the company themselves, and we are always working together to progress. Contact me at ron@thecooperculture.com. Our website is thecooperculture.com. Look forward to the opportunity to speak with your group, work with your group, to take your group to the next level to where we soar together. Let's work together. Rob, in that context, I want to ask you what may seem to be an unfair question because we are recording.
Yeah.
But I want to ask you if you would consider coming back with another episode to help educate our listeners that maybe they could say, all I've known is these prescription medications, the doctor, et cetera, and so on. But Rob, you're opening up a total different world that my body and so forth, I need to learn if there's a different way that I too might be feeding my body something that maybe the physician thought was right, but yet, as I can be educated on different things, I can maybe need to put myself on a different regimen. Would you consider coming back to educate us more on our bodies and nutrition and so forth?
To do that. Yeah, I'd love to do that because I think it's really important to, I like to teach people there's, 5 things you should do every day, right? And you don't have to do all 5 when you're beginning, but you should because it's going to really help you. But they're all simple things and they're free. So why would you not do them, right? So we can talk about those 5. I can quickly do them now. It's up to you. We can.
I tell you what, let's come back, Rob, and talk about those 5, which I can sense the possibility that, wow, there's enough here for multiple additional episodes. But our listeners, I know, are very intrigued with, we're all curious. We need to know, we want to learn. And through you, Rob, thank you for being willing to share your information, your knowledge. We need to learn how best to go forward. And there are a lot of us, our listeners, who can learn from you. And it's, I think you might agree, hey, it's simply a decision to change the way we're doing things based on what we've learned.
That's right. And that's why we created, Exodus. The Exodus product that we have is an Exodus Strong, my company. It's like so much fun is because I literally went back to the Bible, right? I was researching all the ingredients in the Bible itself. And it's like, so amazing how you can use what God put on this earth to help you and help fuel your body. And so we created this product. It's got 7 biblical herbs and superfoods in it, but then it's got this molecular hydrogen blend. And it's that's hydrogen is the most basic element that God created, which is so fascinating because if you can get molecular hydrogen inside the body, it acts as a master antioxidant. So it gets rid of the bad stuff and it helps your mitochondrial process, which is your energy system in your body, work more efficiently. So I've created these products to try to help people from a basic level. I'm like, right, here's something that we all need our nutrients. We have barley grass and wheatgrass because most people aren't getting the right foods, right? And so that's really important. And then we have saffron, which helps with clarity, mental clarity, and stress reduction. Aloe is really good for gut health. That's one of the big things we're going to talk about in the next episode is gut health. Gut health is so important. And then inflammation. Inflammation is the source of all disease. If you didn't know that, that's really was when I first heard that, I'm like, come on, that doesn't make sense to me. But the more research I did, that's actually literally true. And so if you can have a product that reduces inflammation, it's going to help you. And guess what? We include frankincense, myrrh, and cumin in the product, as well as the molecular hydrogen. Combined, those all reduce inflammation. So this product is just a phenomenal product and solution. And I do have I'd like to get people a free travel pack. It's got 6 capsules in it. And I want you to just try those 6 capsules, and I'll send you just send me a self-addressed stamp envelope. I'll send you a 6-pack of the product because I want you to try it because it's really impactful. But then, anyway, if you want to try that, you can go to exodusstrong.com/free. And you just fill out a form, and you can pay $10 if you want, and I'll give you a couple of those, so you have 12. Or you can just send me a special stamped envelope, and I'll get you a 6-pack. But anyway, that's something. One of the things that we're trying to do to help humanity is just with get their nutrient levels based upon what God created, right? We call it the modern manna, right? Because it's not a joke. It's like literally He put all this stuff on the earth for us. And so we just need to realize that, and then we need to start putting it into our bodies. But those other 5 things that I talk about are fun because they're 100% free. It's something everybody can do, and it's just something that as you start doing those and you start stacking them on top of each other, you're going to feel so much better. And then you're going to say, "Hey, this guy's not crazy. This guy's really, he's really." And I'm excited about life. I'm excited about your health, and I'm excited about your faith. Because one of the things that we do with Exodus is we include a prayer guide that goes along with every single product. Because it's really important. The whole mind, body, spirit connection is so true. Your mind is so powerful, and there's lots of research that backs this up. Your mind can control your body. And so if you actually say an intention, I'm going to get well, and you say that out loud, the Bible even tells us there's power in the tongue, right? There's power for you saying it. And then you actually say a prayer and you read a Bible verse. So we want people to do that every single day. And then you're engaging your mind, body, and spirit in connection to help you with your health. And so that's just, I'm super excited about that because that's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but it's so important. Your mind can control this body. And then if you give it the right nutrients that God gave us on this earth, your body starts functioning the way it's supposed to function. And these problems that you do have start diminishing and hopefully will go away. So anyway, that's stuff I'm so passionate about sharing.
Well, Rob, Marty, and I are right on target with you. On behalf of our listeners, I want to thank you for stimulating our thinking. We look forward to the next episode where we talk more about health, nutrition, learning our body, and possibly we can wean ourselves from the pharmaceuticals and get on the nutrition plan that matches exactly how God has created our body. Rob,
Amen.
Thank you
Amen.
so much for everything that we are learning through you so far, how God has transformed your life and how you have gotten to the point He has brought you. You've got such a great future. We look forward to continuing our dialogue with you.
Awesome. God bless you. I really appreciate it. Look forward to it.
We appreciate having the opportunity to share our and our guests' life experiences with you.
The Cooper culture advances organizations to achieve and sustain high retention rates, connected communication, and trust through personality insights and principled leadership. You can contact us at our website, thecooperculture.com, and you can contact us directly at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, M-A-R-T-Y, at thecooperculture.com. We work with you to help assess aspects of your culture to advance the environment and people to their best performance. We do that through our staff of certified personal performance coaches, leadership trainers, keynote speakers, and DISC personality behavior experts. You can book a speaking engagement directly through our website by contacting us at ron@thecooperculture.com. We look forward to sharing our life experiences with you, some of which are profound, some of which are pretty funny. Some of those life experiences are ones we'll never do that again because we've been through stuff. We truly look forward to working with you, speaking with you, helping advance you in any way that we can.